Alright, hello everyone watching at home. This is Adelaide Eternal. We're bringing you our monthly Eternal tournament. This month's was Highlander, and it's Sarvin McClinton here with Beckett Wolf in the booth.
G'day, I'm Beckett. So I didn't actually play in this tournament, so I'm watching these matches for the first time now. So I haven't played in it, but
I intentionally didn't watch too much of it. I want to make sure this is a nice big surprise.
It's fresh.
So what deck lists do we have here? We've got Isaac Davis on the left, and he's playing
Timor Twin, splashing a bit of white,
which is pretty sweet. And Brendan Dobson on the right on a spicy Elves land destruction type build with a pretty heavy top end. Lots of Terracodon, Craterhoof Behemoth, Primeval Titan, Titania, all the big juicy green stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both these lists actually have a really big top end. They're both rampy decks, and it'll be really interesting to see who can get off the floor quicker. I think Brendan's deck's got a slightly bigger top end, and he runs a bit of land destruction. So
and he's on the play, which puts him favoured. So he's starting off with Verdant Catacombs, I assume.
But neither of them are running too many elves. Turn 1 dorks. Or at least Isaac isn't, so yeah. Isaac's got a couple of things, but it'll be interesting to see if Isaac can get up to that top level. You know, he's playing Glenelender and Revelark, Savage Knuckleblade, which is a really interesting card. Big mana dump, just a big dork mana dump, so
it's pretty dangerous for him, especially being on a mull and then
here we go. Turn 1, gotta read that.
Thermocast.
Looks like it.
Destroy. Unfortunately, his stomping ground is not a snow-covered land. So
Thermocast is essentially Stone Rain, but you gain a life if it's a snow land.
Something a little bit spicy. So this is pretty punishing for a mull to 6 or 5, something along those lines, and he's getting a swarm of elves as well to produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus mana to Isaac's 1.
Yeah, we got a lot of dorks there. I think that's Rophilus on Brendan's side, and don't really see Rophilus in a lot of lists. He's very powerful, but I think his home is in this deck exactly. That big mono green stompy deck. I think it's you can tap and add mana for each forest you control. Something along those lines. He's 2 mana legendary creature.
It's pretty nice. Tapping for multiple mana in this matchup. Especially, we would be assuming that with the amount of land destruction in Brendan's list, that Tiger is not going to be around for very long.
I'd almost be interested in saving up your fetches, because you know it's going to be tough for Brendan to hit those lands so much.
Oh, here's one of your favourite cards.
This is my favourite card.
Coiling Oracle.
He's blue-green, essentially Elvish Visionary, except if it's a land that you draw, you get to put into play. So I just love him. You can clamp him in, you know, silly blue junk lists and stuff like that, or Dark Bant, however you want to call it.
It seems good.
And I really like him.
So what are Isaac's points? He's running Skull Clamp, I assume.
Isaac has got no, he doesn't have Skull Clamp.
Oh,
he's
a crime. Here's another land destruction spell of the exorbitant amount of mana on Brendan's side.
Isaac's points are really interesting. You know, he's got Jason True Name, but he's also got search stuff like Pot and Green Suns, and then he's got Jitte as well. Just a lone Jitte with no Stoneforge, which you don't see very often. Maybe something for the mid-range breaker.
No, that seems nice. I wonder how we can jam a clamp into that list. Every time I see a list and I see it doesn't have clamp,
every time I see Coiling Oracle, I want to jam a clamp into that bad boy.
Absolutely. So at least after this mull and the 2 land destruction spells, Isaac is still hitting his land drops. That's pretty much the only saving grace. And Brendan's board hasn't actually developed, but I think he's pretty far ahead already.
Yeah, well, you know, maybe if he triggered off that Coiling Oracle, He could have got an extra land into play. Maybe got back into it.
He does have that Savage Knuckleblade in hand, I believe. It was
that was flipped off the Oracle. That was the one I was talking about. It's just a big mana dump, which isn't really that useful this early in the game.
Well, this is going to be very interesting to see what this 2-drop is. And it is...
Wall of Roots, I think. Wall of Roots. It's a good start. Isaac runs Quarter Calling in the deck, which
perfect pair with Wall of Roots.
Yeah, perfect pair with Wall of Roots, and I've always been really impressed with in a Highlander. And the other thing is, Isaac, even though he's got this big list, he's got Xenagos the Reveler.
Just right on time. There's your guy's cradle.
This is Brendan working top gear here.
If you didn't have enough mana, this is something big. So, what would you like to play for? Oh, we have...
Terrastodon?
Is it a Terrastodon? It's
probably a big boy.
Yep, there we go. And he even makes his Horizon Canopy into a 3/3 elephant. Because denying your opponent's mana isn't enough. So 2 elephants on Isaac's side, and if he doesn't hit his land drop here, he's unlikely to be casting another spell for the rest of the game.
Although those elephants, they switch on that Quarter Calling.
If he has it. If he has it, let's see.
Yeah, you can't talk too much in Highlander. It's 1 in 60 chance now, so not like modern.
So Isaac obviously thinking here, how do I get out of this mess? And possibly a discussion about... It's either him thinking about how bad this is, and he's passing the turn. So,
well, he's got the 9/9 to deal with as well. There's a lot of damage on the board, let alone more dogs.
An exalted 10/10 perhaps even. And natural order on the recently cast Noble Hierarch.
I don't know if he really needs anything here, right?
He gets the big stompy guy, right? The Cradle Behemoth.
Yeah, that'll
and
close
go
it
for
up.
the win. There it is.
Wow, what turn was that, Suf? Turn 3 or 4?
Well, he had 3 lands in play at one point, and I believe he missed a land drop, so this is probably turn 4.
Oh, yeah.
So, I assume it's quite academic here, calculating, but...
Yeah, there's no reason you wouldn't swing, Yeah,
those turns when Deathrite Shaman is actually attacking, that's a bad sign for your opponent. There we go.
Big scoop.
Well, so we'll look at the sideboards then. I have Brendan's sideboard here, and he's got a large number of stompy creatures to bring in. I don't know if this is a matchup where you do want to bring them in. Would you say so? Is this a bit of a mid-range matchup?
The thing with Isaac's list is he's running the twin combo, so Brendan can try to outramp him as much as he likes, but Isaac might be able to just get in there with a cheeky turn 3 Exarch into turn 4 twin, and it's very possible for him to get a free win there. So I don't know if you want more mid-range breakers. I think I haven't really looked at Brendan's list, but
that's a fair point. So other than the big mid-range creatures, the niche stuff that Brendan has is a Bajuka Bog, which doesn't really come in here, I assume. Some artifact destruction, again, not directly relevant. A Gadok Teague, not really relevant in the mid-range aspect, because I don't think Isaac has any.
He's got a lot of creatures
commands and that kind of thing.
Zealous Conscripts at that. Isaac does for his Splinter combo, Kiki Jiki as well, so they're actually creatures. So I don't think the Teague does much.
And he doesn't have any counter spells in his mid-range.
No.
Much. So that makes Thrum just a beater, just a big hexproof beater, which is okay. He does bring in Carpet of Flowers, I assume, here, because tapping, getting some additional mana off a number of islands, which I did see a Tundra or...
Yeah, there's a couple. It is a 4-colour list, 3-colour splashing white, really. Don't know about Carpet of Flowers if I'd bring it in, because, you bring it in, you got to take something else out.
This is very true. And you definitely don't bring in Tsunami. I mean, it might hit 2 lands.
Yeah.
But you've got so much other LD in there, I assume that it's not necessarily relevant.
As far as Isaac's list goes, this is tough. I mean, whenever I have seen Brendan's list similar, but I've never really boarded anything in for it specifically. Maybe a bribery every now and again, but Isaac definitely did not plan for this. He doesn't have much, he's not going to bring in Thrag, Tusken Thrun and stuff like that. More mid-range guys that are just going to get trumped by Brennan's bigger creatures. Maybe Fiery Confluence to ping off some of those 1/1s.
The Confluence is pretty nice.
Yeah, or Anger of the Gods, but doesn't have much.
Is it going to be hard for a team of twin to win in a tempo match here? Unless it's in the air, I mean. There could be a quick Pestamite and then a Fiery Confluence for 6 to the face, and suddenly you've got a clock going.
Yeah, look, Isaac's got Lotus Cobra and a few other rampy stuff. He runs Birds of Paradise, so he could get a fast start and he could get a free win. So I definitely think that if Brendan's trying to cast 4 mana land destruction, and Isaac can just shrug it off.
Twin. Yeah.
Shrug it off and jam the twin, so it would be interesting to see. And did you say that was off a Malta 5, wasn't it?
That was a Malta 6 or 5. It was a very punishing start on the draw and getting land destruction on your turn 1, so to speak, is pretty rough. But hopefully we're going to be keeping 7 here. We'll have a nice interactive match. Looks like he's having a look, and it's going back. Alright, so what have we got here in Brendan's hand? We've got Titania right up the front, a bunch of lands, and a card second to the left, which is one that I recall seeing at some point. I might be able to pull it up for you.
Did I see Knight of the Reliquary as the far left one? I think I did.
He runs
it. Knight of the Reliquary is just such a powerhouse, and he's really slow. Maybe a little bit too slow for Legacy and Modern, but in this format, he's got a home, and
especially that turn 1 dork. I didn't see
searches
a turn
for
1
Gaia's
dork.
Cradle,
Here we go. What have we
That's
got
real.
on Isaac's side? All I could see was a land there.
Yeah, I think it did. Is that Deathrite Shaman? So I saw Misty Rainforest Deathrite Shaman, which is a good start. Yep.
Alright, so it looks like we'll have a nice interactive match then.
Isaac's also got a lot of really strong 3-drops. He's got True Name, he's got Click, he's got his Exarchs, which can go tempo, like tap a land in your upkeep, and Dak Faden, so
jam-packed 3-drop slot, and off that Deathrite.
Deathrite.
It's going to be a nice start. And this time, Brendan without a turn 1 dork, so his 3-drops will be coming out a little bit slower. Now's the time for Isaac to jam something that costs 3. And a fetch land is being cracked, so that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, as I said, if you're playing against land destruction, unless you've got something specific to play, I wouldn't be cracking my fetches.
Save them in reserve.
Yeah, it's so interesting because obviously Legacy has Brainstorm and doesn't have those shock lands, so there's no need to fetch at the end of turn, and Modern's the opposite. Fetching end of turn to get shock lands to save life is a good idea. This is somewhere in between because most of these decks run a set of the duels and a set of the shocks, so it's kind of like, oh, well, what's correct? And I think it comes down to stuff like this, stuff like, are they playing aggro, are they playing Stifle or Shadow of Doubt?
Bit of a decision tree.
That's right.
And
here's
there's Dak.
The turn 3. Don't think Brennan runs too many artifacts though.
I'm afraid not. He's just going to be an enchantment that sticks around and filters his draws for the...
Can you ever really side out Dak Faden?
He's a nice support card. Very nice. Occasionally takes my clamps, which...
Sam loves his clamps.
I love my clamps.
Give me my clamp!
I think until clamp becomes 4 points, there's just really no reason for me to not run clamp in every deck.
It's so interesting. Sav and I were talking about how in Canberra they just shrug it. Clamp. Melbourne Highlander players seem to love it.
Absolutely. I think Adelaide seems to be in between. It was very mid-range and aggro focused for a while, and then recently we've seen some storm lists popping up. We've seen some of these more combo oriented lists. We do have in the tournament today, we have a reanimator deck as well. So we have a variety of more combo oriented things in the meta. So maybe this is a good sign for us Clamp players that we're going to be sticking around at 2 points.
Yeah, I think so. And they just released Grip of Phyrexia?
Grip of Phyresis.
Phyresis.
Very exciting card.
Yeah.
That looks like the kind of, gain control of your Clamp and draw 2 cards. There's instant speed divination.
Playing
and
Carry
more.
Away, which is 2 mana enchantment, so sorcery speed, and they just steal an equipment, and I thought it was some real good tech. Turns out it was pretty awful, but
it's an awful version of Grip of Phyresis.
Yeah, this could be
time shifted.
The Carry Away I always wanted. You see Isaac putting
ripping
in
through
work
the deck.
with that deck fade.
Ripping through the deck.
He does have more dogs than I thought, which makes you wonder why he runs Anger of the Gods.
Yeah, is that main or side?
Sideboard, yeah.
Alright, that's good at least. And he's pitching one of our little combo pieces, so maybe he's not on the combo plan at the moment. But on Brendan's side, we started off with nothing on turn 1 and a turn 2 Fauna Shaman, is that right? It's a 2-drop. It looks to be Fauna Shaman. A little bit of glare. We will move the camera for everyone so that maybe not in this round. At least we'll have some better, less glary matches coming up. We'll have a quick look. It might be a Fauna Shaman, but let's just double check.
Yeah, you got to check the art. The thing about Highlander is you get to play some of those, cards that you've always wanted to try out. You think they're good, and deep down you know they're not. But Highlander giving you 75 cards to work off.
Yeah, that is a big plus. And a minus for coverage. Now, to me, that looks like a Fauna Shaman.
Yeah, I think that's Fauna Shaman. That's a great card.
Taps for 4, and we get another Planeswalker in the mix right next to Dak.
And he's just bouncing that Fauna Shaman. He knows. I think that's fine here.
Against Brendan's slow start, bouncing a dude seems okay. I mean, it's not like he's going to get any haste out of the green deck here.
Sav's always said, if you're not sure, Brainstorm's always correct. But it seemed like Isaac was pretty sure on that one.
Yep. No hesitation.
Brainstorm's still probably correct, but, I think either or.
Given that he's probably quite afraid of what happens after Fauna Shaman gets activated once. And
he might not know the list. Discard a creature card. Could have some kind of random reanimate. There's a lot of powerful spells.
Well, one tutor bounces to the hand, the Fauna Shaman, then we get another tutor in the form of land tutorage in our Knight of the Reliquary.
But geez, if Isaac's got some gas here, he could just unsummon that as well. And he's got the deck fading to try to find some gas, so he can drop something good here.
So if I just came into this match and I looked on the top left there at a Dak Fade and an adjacent Mind Sculptor, I think I'm playing Vintage. But this is a Teamer. Teamer Twin in Highlander. This is why the format's just so great.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac's got the benefit of him playing the green in this Twin list is he gets banned in Crassus, which had a lot of hype when Twin was still around, just before Twin got banned in Modern, and turned out to be a bit of a fad. But, I think it'd be okay here. It's another Pestamite or Deceiver Exarch that you can use.
Why not? It's for 3/3 too, isn't it? It's 3/3.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. 3/3, and you can untap a critter or tap a critter.
And what do you think about this choice here? Isaac had plussed the Jace to Fate Seal himself, and then plus Dak to rip through the deck, as opposed to your thought on bouncing the Knight of the Reliquary and just staying ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know without knowing what's in Isaac's hand if he's digging for something in particular. There is the threat I was talking about. Maybe, to be honest, I feel like unsummoning there, because Knight of the Reliquary can get, Guy's Cradle.
Absolutely.
And if he goes, tap a land, search for Guy's Cradle, play a bunch of dorks, Guy's Cradle, then he's set up.
There's a pretty scary spot when you got that active tutor on the other side, and their deck has a Cradle in it somewhere. And you would assume that based on an LD deck, there's a Strip Mine and a Wasteland in there, and there is, by confirmation from the list side of things. So I think their Jace plussing, given that Dak was going to give you 2 more draws to find a threat to protect the Jace, was probably very conservative.
Yeah, Fate Seal is really underpowered. What it's got going for it is that it gives Jace 2 life, and Oh, I guess. I mean, I haven't ultimated too many Jaces, but I guess it does get closer to ultimating. But really, you can't go wrong with Brainstorm. I don't think you can ever really criticize a Brainstorm, and I think Unsummon's also pretty relevant there.
Absolutely.
Brennan just having a think. Isaac's down to 1 card in hand as well, so he could be riding this Huntmaster till the end.
This is that card that I was saying before. And we have to read it too. This one is it's a
there are a few in the list, aren't there?
Frozen Restorer. So it's a 3-drop and it's a 1/2, a druid, human druid, possibly relevant in your druid tribal with your snake elf druid.
Oh yeah,
Coiling
Oracle, snake elf druid tribal.
And there's the cradle. And unfortunately, what happens is Frozen Restorer taps to untap target land, and when you've got a Guy's Cradle out next turn, that's going to be pretty scary. Frozen Restorer also has Threshold, which once you have 7 cards in the graveyard, you can untap up to 3 target lands. So
seems tough with the Deathrite Shaman out, but
probably not going to happen.
It's an interesting card, and obviously, even without the Threshold, hitting that Guy's Cradle, that is a big turn next turn for Brendan. He's got a lot of cards in hand. He's got a lot of mana to play with. Jace is brainstorming.
You need to find an answer.
Oh, yeah.
You need to find something here. You got to find something. I mean, yeah, I think this is where the not bouncing comes back to bite Isaac. It was conservative, but I mean, on the upside, what he was doing there was saying, I'm just going to shore up my position. I have 2 planeswalkers that are active. Going up, I'm going to have Huntmaster. This is going to be just me in total control of the game. But little did he know, coming down the other side is a 3-drop that says untap target Guy's Cradle, and essentially together with Guy's Cradle is going to produce at least 6 mana next turn.
Brandon's list is just so big that it can trump a Jace and a Dak and a Huntmaster. It's not vintage, you know. Those cards shore up a vintage game. This isn't vintage. He could drop a bunch of Dorks and a Guy's Cradle next turn, no sweat, and just close this game up. So yeah, you know, sometimes when you're trying to do the conservative play, you end up being more risky.
Well, here we've got another 3-drop coming in at the moment after a Brainstorm, so it's got to be good. Something nice.
Do you reckon even Deceiver, Exarch, Pestamite could tap that guy?
Anger of the gods! That feeling when you have to anger away your guys because the other side of the board is just so scary. I mean, it's going to be... okay. Reconsider. Alright, so...
The Jitte will kill
It's going to be
Knight.
a lot more, yeah.
It can kill Knight at can kill his whole board, either creature. So
there is a land in the graveyard and a fetch land, active fetch land on the battlefield for Brendan. So that Knight is possibly a 4/4.
But the Shaman can gobble that up.
The Shaman can gobble it up. Very good. So
yeah, I don't know. I almost like the anger play because
it's a 3 for 3 in that instance, and it's a 3 for 3 that stops your opponent and allows you to continue to have 2 active planeswalkers on the battlefield. Yeah. I think he's just trying to get in there with the Jitte. Hope that Huntmaster even flips as well, which is another plus to that. And then angering after it flips can be pretty good. So yeah, he gets rid of the Fauna Shaman because that was the scariest part of that situation, is just activating Fauna Shaman to get the biggest thing in your deck.
Yeah, I think almost Knight's done its dash to an extent. You know, Guy's the big target. Now, if he wants, he can strip and wasteland and just start ticking away.
Absolutely.
But the Guy is just a real big one. That's why Knight's in the deck.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. So this is going to be interesting here. So he's got his Dryad Arbor, so that he's still got the 6 proverbial mana off those 2 land and Dryad cards. So the question is, can he follow it up with a big haymaker here? Because once Isaac untaps and he's got a Umezawa's Jitte active, 2 active planeswalkers, and possibly this Huntmaster flipping,
Dryad Arbor doesn't look great
spot.
in front of a Jitte, so I think Brennan's looking to do something here.
This is a time for him to command the game. It all depends on whether or not Brendan has pulled something big, and it's possibly something very big right now. And
Although,
6, 8.
Yeah, Terastodon again. Oh, now
Hitting the
that's
non-creature perm. Oh, no.
Yeah. Doesn't go for the lands here.
That is brutal. Killing the 2 planeswalkers that were really, really pulling Isaac ahead.
And I think you want to hit the Judaica here.
Yeah.
The 3/3s aren't that bad when you've got
there we go.
9/9 out.
Absolutely.
And
that
I don't think
Knight's
Isaac
going to get
runs
huge
many
too.
Kill spells, yeah, Knight's a big boy.
So, what would you take if I said here's 2 elephants, or here's a Dak Fade and then a Jason Mind Sculptor?
I think I'd rather
depends on the board state, but in
Jace.
general, I think we'll keep our planeswalkers. So
gotta be careful though. I mean, Isaac's still got arguably some good cards on top because he's been backing,
and he's got 5 mana. So most of his deck is open here.
But he doesn't have that kill spell for that Terastodon. He can't just go for the throw that thing.
Now, is he splashing white? Is that correct?
Splashing white for sideboard Kozali Pride Mage. I love that card.
Very nice.
Board.
Absolute staple in this format.
Thalia and
very good against Storm and Control.
Revelark and Restoration Angel, which are at the top end. And I don't think that's too bad because his
crop rotation from Brendan. So this is a good question. What does he get? Is he going to be Strip Mine? Is that right?
Strip Mine, it looks like, yeah.
It looks like the promo from the Vault Strip Mine. So it's going straight to the bin.
You know what I'd love to see here? Isaac's got Bloodbraid Elf in his deck, and going Bloodbraid Elf into those 3 drops, Crassus or Pestamite Exarch. Exarch's in the bin, obviously, but geez, going Bloodbraid Elf and then tapping that Terastodon and getting in for a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Isaac can definitely turn this around.
Absolutely. It will be critical to have another land, so to have access to that 4th mana.
Oh, Zealous Conscripts as well. Steal that Terastodon.
He's not dead.
He managed to flip the Huntmaster. This is a real game.
He definitely has outs. He just has to draw them in the next turn or 2. He can hold off the Terastodon. The Terastodon doesn't have trample, to my knowledge. It is just a 9/9.
I think the Knight is a threat because he can just keep playing a land, searching for Wasteland or Strip Mine or Dust Ball. I think he runs.
True.
And obviously that guy's Cradle can tap for a lot. So I don't think the 9/9's a big deal at all. If the game stalls out, Huntmaster's just going to do
absolutely. He has blockers for days against something that doesn't have trample, and Reliquary doesn't have trample. Does Brendan have access to a single red mana and a Kessig Wolfrun or something in his deck?
Oh, Isaac runs Kessig Wolfrun.
Yeah, but Brendan doesn't, so he can't get a big tramply guy.
What a deck. Kessig Wolfrun in the same deck as Tezzeret the Seeker and Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Why not? It's Highlander. This is great.
Yeah.
Kessig, there we go.
Kessig and True Name Nemesis.
Here we go. We've got a flip.
Yeah.
And we've got a ping. 2 and 2. So he intentionally did not cast anything. And he kills the creature that untaps Guy's Cradle and does 2 damage to Brendan. So I think this is a chance for Brendan to cast something that costs 3, 4, maybe even 5, but he'd be having to sack his Dryad Arbor. It's probably not going to be anything particularly nasty coming out right now. He's doing the math. I mean, there's a lot of tutor targets for...
Does Brendan want to go down that Strip Mine Wastelands plan? I don't know.
I don't know if he actually can when he's leaving his opponent with a Huntmaster that can just continue to flip back and forth, and he has 3 elephants and a wolf. I mean, technically, whilst he had to kill those planeswalkers, there is a situation where Isaac could absolutely take control of the game. He just needs to hit that next land drop and get something big. Alright, so he's cast a Wild Growth type effect, if not actually Wild Growth, on the Guy's Cradle, so that it taps for an additional mana. and he's tapped the Dried Arbor and sacrificing it to get another get a Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx.
Looks like it, yeah.
So that's going to activate for Wild Growth 1, Terrastodon 2, and the Knight another 1, so activating for 4. And he's also cast another creature, a Wall of Glare on the far right there.
What a creature. Very unpredictable one there.
Yes, that's right. It will be sliding into shot, I see. Is that something that returns a permanent from the graveyard? Because he did return a Strip Mine from the graveyard.
Den Protector?
That or Titania?
Yeah, I gotta assume that it's one of those cards that I haven't actually seen. There are a few on Brennan's list that we had to look up before starting.
There's some very spicy cards.
Some old cards as well.
When you've got access to that much mana, you can really play some of the biggest things.
Could be Titania, yeah. It's looking like Titania.
It seems like the most logical thing to return the Strip Mine. So, I mean, that seems like the most likely card.
That's a Crassus, so that's what I was talking about with the tap, and now he's got another 3/3. He's got the Huntmaster active, that's a trample 4/4. Titania's a 5/3, and he's looking at a board of 3/3s. That's,
very interesting.
Got to block the wolf, and then it's got a lot to deal with. So that's a 5/3 token from Titania. When Titania enters, gets a land back from graveyard, and when a land dies on your field, you get a 5/3. So you're almost guaranteed a 5/3. If you've got some fetches and strips, you get some more. It's another one of those Highlander staples you don't see in many other formats. And
absolutely.
Closes the game quick. But, yeah, Isaac's got a big board here.
He has, and he's allowed the Huntmaster to flip back. I believe it's when you cast 2 spells in the turn. Is that right?
Not many incredible werewolves out there, but Huntmaster's one of them.
I'd put it on the top of my werewolf list,
yes.
I would say. Out of the all of one card.
My favourite werewolf.
It would be my favourite. So now his board is just really looking stacked. I mean, it doesn't matter that he's only got the one land or possibly one behind it. No, one land.
Well, he's got the Shaman, so, with a land drop. But
life isn't his problem either. So, I mean, on 20 and with a Deathrite Shaman.
What do you reckon, Seth? Do you reckon he's got to get in here?
I think so. I think now's the chance to just get some beats in.
And the Crassus will be the real determination of that. Is he going to get in with Huntmaster? Because he might want to hold back Huntmaster, hold back Crassus. He's held off completely.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting to tap with the Crassus, but not attack.
I don't want to save that up.
So it's possible that he's just being very safe here. He's just afraid of something really big coming down, and like the big hasty behemoth or something like that.
Titania and Knight of the Reliquary.
Absolutely.
What a combo.
Don't leave them on the board like that. It's going to be too scary.
Because Knight.
Here we go. No more lands for you.
Knight sacks the land and triggers the Titania, and I think Titania is always going to outvalue Huntmaster. So, if Brandon has to block with Titania to stay alive, then Isaac's laughing.
Absolutely, and Brendan is only on 14. I think a swing last turn, with one to chump the Arbor Elf just to chump the big 9/9 or the big Reliquary coming in. I think that it would have been a nice.
Because he blocked the Huntmaster, try to kill it.
Absolutely. Did you just see a glimpse of what that card was in hand? Because to me it looked like a natural order.
That would shore up the game.
That's very scary.
I don't think you want to go too grindy
against
Brandon when he's got cards in hand.
He's got such a high top end. And he's now activating the Knight, sacking a land to get a 5/3. Incidentally 5/3.
Oh, and if it's, fetch land or something, then the fetch land comes in, triggers again.
Caracas. Caracas. Okay. Very interesting. That's the whole point.
Bouncing the Titania. He's got the mana just for the ETB ability. Wow. You got mana to play with when you're playing Caracas to bounce your own Titania. Titania's ETB is fine, but it's really her staying power, I think, that does it. Her staying power and just the fact that she creates a quick threat. She can get 15 damage on the board like that.
Absolutely. So
Now,
I have to say that's the first time I've ever seen Titania, who doesn't have summoning sickness, get bounced by your own Caracas and replayed just to get value. I mean, it's amazing. Getting a storm of 5/3s and then
Storm. I play Caracas Storm count 1.
And we know he's got that natural order in hand, which is he's really setting up for a big lethal swing, isn't he?
Like, that's got to be lethal. Behemoth. You could sack anything in Behemoth, and I think it's almost over the top. He could have Behemoth last turn, but he's only on 14 if he doesn't lethal it.
Absolutely, he doesn't want to. He wants to ensure he doesn't just get killed. And
I guess not much pressure from Isaac. It'd be very interesting.
There we go. We've actually seen this is the third flip for Huntmaster.
But it's just MVP. Being outclassed, isn't it?
2 damage is just not enough to deal to this board of 3 toughness and higher creatures, and the 2 damage to the face. It might allow him to turn the corner later on with the
Knight of the Reliquary has been out since Jace.
Do
you remember Jace? Value. That was a while ago.
I remember those days. A long time ago. Dak and Jace, super friends on the side, getting turned into elephants. And here we go. There's a natural order. I think this is all she wrote.
Unless the Behemoth's in hand. Can't search for it.
Yeah, he might just play that and say, would you like to concede? But I'm pretty sure the Behemoth is in the deck. There it is. And doing the math, it's largely academic.
Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think that Jite would be pretty outclassed by this board if it was still around as well. Which is, you never want to side out a point, but
sometimes. So he's going to move to attacks, and we're going to see how the math goes here, but I'm pretty sure.
I don't want to do the math here, Sav, but I'm going to just go ahead and assume that they've done it correctly and that it's lethal.
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest bet.
Yeah, they're just working it out now. If Isaac can survive it, which I doubt highly, because these things all have trample. If he can, his board's wiped. And there's the handshake.
Extends the hand.
Brendan, well played, I thought.
Good work. And so that's a 2-0 to Brendan. We might be seeing him later on in the tournament too. But thank you to everyone who's been watching at home. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of Highlander there. That's only round 1. We've got a lot more in store for you.
Alright, thanks a lot, guys. See ya.